Long ago, in the heart of an African forest, there was a beautiful village called Igboo, which meant the forest of joy. Tall iroko trees stood like guardians around the village. The ground was red and warm. Birds sang every morning, and the river sparkled like silver under the sun. But this was no ordinary village. Animals lived there. They talked. They traded. They worked together like one big family. Monkey sold sweet bananas and coconuts in the market. Rabbit planted crunchy carrots and leafy vegetables in his garden. Cat, with her sharp eyes, guarded the village food store. Lion, strong and bold, protected everyone from danger. And then there was Dog Kind, loyal dog who helped anyone who needed it. If an old goat couldn't carry her firewood, Dog was there to help. If little chicks got lost, Dog would find them. If two animals argued, Dog would settle the quarrel gently. Everyone in the village trusted Dog, everyone except one. Under a shady tree near the edge of the village lived Tortoise. Tortoise was small, slow, and very, very clever. But he did not like to work. While others farmed, built, and traded, Tortoise would lie on his back, just staring at the sky. Humph, he grumbled one afternoon, watching everyone bustle around. Look at them, running around like ants. Why should I work so hard? He watched Dog helping Rabbit carry baskets. He saw Lion being praised for his bravery. He heard Monkey laughing with happy customers. His eyes grew narrow with envy. They respect them. But nobody respects me, he muttered to himself. Then a wicked idea crept into his mind. If I cannot earn respect, I will trick them into giving it to me. And with that thought, Tortoise smiled a slow, sly smile. The very next morning, Tortoise began his plan. First, he visited Monkey, a friend. Tortoise said softly, "I overheard Lion talking yesterday." Monkey scratched his head. Talking about what? Tortoise sighed sadly. He said, "You are too noisy and foolish to be useful to the village." Monkey gasped. Lion said that, "I shouldn't even be telling you," Tortoise whispered, looking around as if sharing a great secret. Monkey's cheerful smile disappeared completely. Later that day, Tortoise found Rabbit in his garden. "Rabbit," he said, his voice full of fake concern, "Dog thinks you are too small to matter in this village." Rabbit's long ears drooped. Dog is my friend." Tortoise shook his head slowly. "Not everything is as it seems, my friend." One by one, he visited the animals, spreading lies like dry leaves in the wind. Soon, the once happy village grew cold and quiet. Monkey stopped greeting Lion. Rabbit started avoiding Dog. Cat trusted no one. Her eyes filled with suspicion. The bonds that held the community together began to fray, and from afar, Tortoise watched it all unfold. "Perfect," he whispered, a triumphant gleam in his eyes. One evening, the animals gathered under the great baobab tree to discuss their growing problems. "We keep fighting all the time," Cat said. Her fur bristled. "No one trusts anyone anymore," Monkey added, his voice low. "We need a wise leader to guide us," Rabbit said softly. That was Tortoise's moment. He stepped forward slowly, putting on his most gentle expression. "My dear friends," he said, his voice smooth and calming, "it pains my heart to see you like this. Perhaps you need someone calm, someone intelligent, someone who can guide you back to harmony." The animals looked at him. He sounded so peaceful, so kind, so different from the tension they all felt. "Maybe Tortoise is right," Monkey said, looking around. "Yes," Rabbit agreed. "He never fights with anyone." Even Lion nodded. "Perhaps he should lead us." And so they wove a beautiful crown from fresh green leaves and placed it on Tortoise's head. "Tortoise is our king." They cheered, hoping for a return to peace. Inside, Tortoise laughed silently. Finally, he thought, "now they will serve me." The very next day, trouble came knocking. Two goats were fighting loudly over a pile of corn. "Your Majesty," Cat said, approaching the new king, "please settle this matter." Tortoise just yawned. "Too noisy. Go away." Later, the villagers' water well broke. "King Tortoise!" Rabbit cried, running to him. "What should we do? We have no water." "Not my problem," Tortoise muttered, pulling his head inside his shell. That night, thieves snuck into the village and stole food from the store. "Help us," Monkey shouted, banging on Tortoise's door. But Tortoise just snored loudly, ignoring their pleas. Days turned into weeks. Nothing improved. In fact, things got worse. The crops in the fields died from lack of water. The food supply dwindled. The arguments grew louder and more bitter. Instead of helping, King Tortoise only gave orders for his own comfort. "Bring me juicy mangoes." He would shout, "Fan me while I sleep." And his most common command was, "Don't disturb me." The once joyful village of Igbowayo became a sad, unhappy place. Children cried from hunger. The bustling market shops closed down. The happy songs that once filled the air stopped completely. The forest of joy no longer felt joyful at all. One evening, Dog stood in the center of the quiet village. "This cannot continue," he said, his voice firm and clear. The other animals slowly gathered around him, their faces full of despair. "A leader must serve the people," Dog continued. "A leader works for the good of everyone, but our king hides while we suffer." Monkey lowered his head in shame. "We made a mistake," Rabbit added, his voice trembling. "Tortoise tricked us with his lies." Even the mighty lion sighed. "Strength is nothing without responsibility." Together they called for Tortoise. He came slowly, still chewing on a piece of fruit someone had brought him. "What is it now?" he complained, annoyed at being disturbed. Dog looked straight at him. "You are not fit to be king." A murmur went through the crowd. "You lied to us," Cat said, her voice sharp. "You divided us," Rabbit added. "You abandoned us," Lion growled, his patience gone. The animals gently removed the crown of leaves from Tortoise's head. "Tortoise," Dog said, his voice steady, "you must step down." For the first time, Tortoise had no clever words. He was met with only silence and the disappointed faces of his neighbors. The animals then chose Dog as their new leader. But Dog did not wear the crown proudly or demand to be served. Instead, he rolled up his paws and got to work. He organized the animals to fix the well. He stood guard over the food store himself. He listened to disputes and settled them fairly. He helped Rabbit and the others bring the farms back to life. Slowly, everything began to change. Laughter returned to the village square. Music floated on the evening breeze once more. Trust, the most precious thing they had lost, began to grow back. Igbueo became the forest of joy again, and everyone finally felt safe and cared for. As for Tortoise, he watched it all from the shadows. His heart felt heavy with regret. "I stole a place that was never mine," he whispered to himself. "I wanted respect without work. I wanted power without responsibility." Tears filled his small eyes. Quietly, he crawled away into the deep bush, far from the village he had betrayed. There, he lived alone, thinking and thinking about his great mistake, and whenever the shame filled his heart, he would pull his head and legs deep into his shell, hiding from the world. They say that is why, to this day, tortoises still hide in their shells. It's a reminder that true leadership is earned through honesty and service, not tricks and lies. If you steal a crown, it will never truly fit your head. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe for more tales from around the world.